just met the other night, but I can't get you off my mind. Not a smooth talker under pressure. Sweaty palms ain't making it much better. Something about you feels so special. Pretty awkward from the minute that I met you.
We are a group of ultimate players, coaches and video enthusiasts. We've worked with the major federations and the greatest events.
We're on a mission to make Ultimate huge. We want our videos and live streams to be free to watch.
We want to make stories that not only reach you,
but also reach people outside the Ultimate community.
Like and subscribe, ULTI.TV, the best in the world.
Become a member and fund our work
to cover more events in the future and to bring more stories and live coverage to the eyes of the Ultimate world and beyond.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Enjoying the show? Show your support for the live stream and the people making the show. Buy a super chat or super sticker on YouTube directly. Select your donation and type your message to the world. And share. All donations go into directly funding new shows. Buy a super sticker or super chat now. Thank you.
Real quick sprints, take the disc briskly, sunshine glints off my frisbee crisply, knows how it goes with the sand between our toes. We got both of the pivots and all of the throws. Got to hold the disc and move it at the right time. When you flick your wrist and you're feeling sublime, compose your throws, not discuss fluttery, tricks from the brick and your biscuits buttery. Feel the spirit, stretch every sinew, stream in courage, yeah, we continue. Take my hand, yeah, come with me, from the disc to the sand, to the beach, to the sea. There's magic in the air. All you have to do is catch it. EBUCC 2022.
Welcome to finals day, the business end of the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2022. The sun is just breaking through the clouds. We have been only 45 minutes ago having sunrise here in Portimão, and we're going to open up today with a scintillator of a match. It is the bronze medal game in the women's division, and it's Tequila Boom Boom of Rimini versus SUFC Valkyria of Stockholm, Sweden. Hannah Penderbury in the commentary booth this fine, quite chilly morning alongside Tom Stiles. And how are you feeling about this game, Tom?
Well, I think this is going to be a very exciting matchup. They've got the youth of the Rimini team. So many of these players competing in Wrocław this summer on the under-17 and under-20 sides for the Italians, against a much smaller roster from Sweden. And a much more sort of international mixed team. This is, well, I say mixed, it's all women, but they've come from all sorts of different places. Can they bring that small roster together? They're all brilliant athletes, but they've got the youth to chase. And if Tequila Boom Boom can use their energy, I think that might be the difference between the teams. But either way, it's going to be a really tight match. Bronze medal is the game that everybody wants to win. If they've just lost out on that semi-final, they've come here early in the morning. I think the Italians were up at 6:30 this morning, so they'll be keen to make a mark here in the sand. It's a slightly hazy morning here. You can just see the Atlantic over to our right, but beautiful scenes for Ultimate.
Well, in terms of making their way through to this bronze medal match, of course, we'll be later on having another Swedish appearance in the gold position, potentially if they can best some Spaniards to do so. That, of course, will be Casayetes versus E6. But this is a wonderful opportunity for Valkyria to finish off their season on the beach. They've been trying to get here for a little while. 2 times beach champions in Sweden. But because of the pandemic, they haven't been able to come and represent here on the sand for the club level, because it just kept being E6 being picked due to the fact that they, they just couldn't win at the right time. But they did fall to their Swedish opponents in the semi-final. That was a game where they started off sort of, toe-to-toe, and then E6 just sort of pulled away from them. But Tequila Boom Boom did not have their best showing against Casayetes. They sort of got a little bit outclassed, but in terms of the defensive looks that the Swedes are going to put on, I fully expect there to be a bit of zone, Tom, to try and conserve energy, and we'll see how Tequila Boom Boom can adjust to that, because it caused them all sorts of mischief yesterday.
Yes, the experience of the Swedes. We are going to call them the Swedes, even though there's a mixture of Germans and Russians. And
it's a Swedish club, Stockholm-based. They're representing, regardless. It's one of the things about club level. You do end up with some fantastic, interesting combinations, as we see one of our lovely volunteers on the sideline there with the pink frisbee, which was chosen, of course, back in Dubai, because perfectly white sand in Dubai at the World Championships many moons ago now. It was decided that pink was the best one to show up against that. A little bit more difficult to see against this more golden sand of Portimão, but it is lovely and fluffy underfoot, even with a slightly dewy, damp start to our morning. So, Stockholm getting things underway. Kochenova on the far side, swinging around. Milikova with a nice forward pass. Popping in front now. Oh, a little bit behind, but good adjustment. And that is a first slick, clean hold for Valkyria.
Yeah, doing it right, doing it easy. Short passes all the way down the field. Good, powerful cuts. If they've got the energy to keep doing that throughout the game, they're tall. They've got lots and lots of experience between them. They will be able to do that all day. Probably just worth pointing out they have an 18-year-old playing with them. Karina Barry, who's a Minnesota import, 18 years old, come across to Stockholm to study at university.
Yeah, really big expat community for Swedish individuals in Minnesota. Lesser known fact.
Yeah, we didn't know until 10 minutes ago, but we're always educating, always educating.
Every day is a school day, especially for us. But that's a really nice way to open this one up for Valkyria. Nice and smooth. As we say, in terms of this game for them, it's really going to be so much about just maintaining composure and slick offense so they can come out and use more energy when they try and take the disc away from the Italians. And immediately a big shot to the end zone. We know this is exactly what they like, but again, a little bit of an overshoot, trying to hit Sofia Albani in the end zone. Yeah, Sofia is in fact half Swedish, we discovered. So she had a little look through the roster, much like yourself, Tom, thinking there's not really many Swedes in it.
Yeah, that was the connection that seemed to go loose when they played in that semi-final yesterday. Those deep shots that had worked for them so well earlier on in the tournament, not connecting, and a chance here for Valkyria to get an opening break of the game.
Well, one can't help but feel perhaps against Valkyria playing for yards might be a bit smarter than against Casetas, who of course had a pretty deep roster to match Tequila Boom Booms. And this is nice flow. A leading pass for Alex Benedict, who has separation towards the end zone, and that is perfectly weighted for the break.
And it was, I think it was Barry.
Indeed, with a fetching pink cap for this nice early morning game.
You will update our... So yeah, Barry, the youngster, just mentioned straight out of Minnesota. Welcomed into the team and scoring the first break of the game, going the way of the Swedes. So Tequila Boom Boom, not the start they would have wanted. Rich history of beach ultimate in Rimini, which is where the team are from. You just saw Barry taking that goal. Paganello is the big beach tournament every Easter in Italy. The ultimate community meets on the beach. And that tournament's been going for, must be 30 years now.
It has. It used to be such a pivotal part of the European season and got loads of interest from international clubs and had such a high standard, was extremely difficult to get into for many, many seasons. It's had a couple of, well, not like a descent or anything, but in terms of allowing more other teams to experience that rather than the same sort of, you know, elite number of individuals playing in Paganello. It's sort of opened up, but they also, not many people, Tom, know that it has a juniors division as well.
Yeah. Yeah, always played alongside, and the juniors had their final in front of the stands. It was a brilliant event. I was there for 3 years in a row, sort of 2000s, early 2000s.
So a pick downfield gives a brief moment of repose as we see the second looking at an offense for Tequila Boom Boom after they threw that first one away. Nice up line to Arcangeli. Fakes the one around, launches an absolute cannon of a flick into that center position. And again, it's that inside channel chosen, but laying out, cannot connect with it. Lafiata with such a huge wingspan. But again, perhaps this young team for the Rimini side, a little bit too hasty.
Well, really interesting. Lafiata is leading the assists for Tequila Boom Boom. She was on the sideline and she's been getting into those positions, power position. The team really worked halfway up the pitch and then Lafiata sends it. But Valkyria, the moment she got the disc, they backed off and took away that deep shot.
Well, and throwing one of their own. De Haskett, the Belgian, looking around. Most people behind the pitch doesn't like the look of the one-on-one, and that's going to be redeemed in the end zone. A loose disc, but Karina Barry is going to collect.
Oh, Battistini had a little finger touch on that one, but couldn't prevent the flight. It was bobbling as it was caught. A layout required, but magnificent grab. And they're off to a flying start here. Swedes 3-0 up.
And you can hear the wolf sounds coming out of Valkyria. They told us they were playing a couple of games, Tom, to get to know each other as they started off this championship.
Yes, always important to get the team bonded. They were bonding over identifying which colours they sort of identified with the most.
Indeed, and then it turned into animals. So you might hear some curious noises over our pitch mics. And if you can figure out from some celebrations which the favourite animals are of this Valkyria squad, keep your eyes peeled as this one develops. As they go up 3-0 over Tequila Boom Boom. Now we know that it's a short roster of Valkyria, so if the youngsters of Rimini can pick themselves out of the sand and put together some good intense defence later on as this game develops. But of course, 45 minutes of play available. If you can't reach up before that point, one of the teams getting to 13. So, vertical stack. Lagala coming under. Thinks about the big shot again, similar to La Fiata. That's sort of one of her roles, is to open up the arm. La Fiata coming down the sideline now, hitting Lagala. Oh, and that one is bang on the money, but a travel call is going to bring it back.
Yeah, the La Fiata play, they would just move her out to the sideline and she just looks deep and sends it. The whole team, the whole timing of their cuts is based around this move, and if Valkyria can take it away, they did in the previous point, going the other direction, but they did manage to get a good flick off in flow there, but maybe the flow was a little bit too quick and they stopped, but she sent it again.
And I wouldn't be surprised to hear that one as a strip call. Yep, just the two players having a little chat about it. A great play from Alex Benedict.
You could hear the knock on the disc. See it again. Not sure if the disc had completely stopped, Hannah. What was your... Oh, that's what she's saying. She says it had completely stopped.
Well, it's about having control of it more than anything.
Shall I look again?
But it's difficult. Only Lagala will know if she had indeed managed to obtain control. We might see that one come back a second time.
That second replay, my feeling is that it was a clean D. She certainly hadn't completely stopped the disc.
Oh, I don't know, unless we've got a high resolution frame by frame. It's definitely a close call thing, but I think it's one of those ones, Tom, where I think the player on the field really is allowed to make the call. And indeed, Alex Benedict is going to say,
called it as a goal.
Give it as a goal, yeah. If Lagala was convinced, that's the thing. You can't necessarily tell from looking at it. You just know it by feeling. So the first one on the board for Tequila Boom Boom, and a bit more confidence, Tom, that they can connect with each other in the end zone.
Yes, the Valkyria's smart matching and smart play against that deep shot play from the halfway mark. You've got La Fiata with the disc on. This is their O-line, the way their O-line works, Tequila Boom Boom's O-line. And Valkyria seem to have got that worked out. So maybe they need to switch their offensive tactics to kind of find a new way around it, because height matchup wise, Valkyria have got they're in a good spot to take away those deep options. D-line for Tequila Boom Boom now.
And they will be very keen to get at least one of the two breaks back that they trail. Milnikova in the centre of the field, looking around for options. Gonna have to chuck it deep, but look at the space and time that they have in the end zone, and the the dog barks go up. Or is it a wolf howl, Tom?
Either way, it's a second goal for Karina Barry, sprinting deep. The youngster, a really popular target for this fairly short roster, isn't it? You know, 9 players. If you've got a youngster who's happy to go deep, well, they'll keep feeding her the big discs all day.
Absolutely.
Got some powerful throwers on this team.
But the time and space on that throw, the separation, just by absolutely gunning it and doing. Oh, and a big one goes up for Tequila Boom Boom, and the height of Lafiata cannot be stopped on that one. Great effort from Benedict, but no one she's been beaten. A little congratulation there. But either way, a beautiful goal. And so, once again, we see Valkyria coming up against a zone of the designer of the coaches of Tequila Boom Boom, which they have two. Melikova swings across to Kochenova. Oh, you can see Kate Fadigiana just hanging around in that deep space, but a call on the play. This is nice, good flow. Kochenova swings across to Melnikova. And now Olga Kochenova. Again to a Melnikova connection. Just channeling towards that front cone is everybody trying to get the score. Another brief call. This restarting on 2. Sneaky little pop. Oh, and a beautiful upline cut. Nadia Melnikova for the goal. And that was a little bit less comfortable for Valkyria. A smart use of zone. So Valkyria still sitting those 2 early breaks up in this game. And this is a familiar feeling for Tequila Boom Boom after their semi-final yesterday, and a rolling flick ball off the arm of Alex Benedict, the Canadian. Played the World Masters Ultimate Club Championships with lowercase. Of course, the Masters division for Capitals. Love the pun names in Masters, and this is no joke or laughing matter at the moment. Tequila Boom Boom threading it through beautifully, and that was just really nice and smooth. Well, much better to see from Tequila Boom Boom, just putting it all together nicely. Good connections, Arcangeli, Talafiata. And we're starting to find our flow nicely and the rhythm of this game. But of course, is it going to be the D-line of Tequila Boom Boom able to really snag the disc away from this Stockholm team? Or Stockholm and friends. Nonikova trying to find Benedict, takes the shot to Koshenova. Just the two handlers working it around the back. Little one found through the middle to Stasia. And Nastya. Oh, good around break found as we melt to match. And an easy pop for the goal. It seemed like there was a little bit of slowdown on that from the defense and their pressure, but realistically, not that much real discomfort. Some sort of call, perhaps push-off foul at the back of the stack. But otherwise, again, a nice start to this point for Tequila Boom Boom. They seem a lot more relaxed rather than sort of forcing things a bit like they did yesterday. Well, Valkyria fairly ruthless. It'll be a hard ask to try and grind down their legs, but it has been a long championship for them with just 9 players. Oh, and that's going to have to be redeemed with style. Alangeli makes good the overthrow. Oh, and that's a huge ripper into the end zone, but again, it's an overshot. They don't have the wind to fight against in this lovely Portuguese morning. In fact, this is the first time we've seen the wind coming off of the mainland towards the sea. Every other game we've broadcast so far, Tom, the wind's been the opposite direction, coming from right to left on our screens.
What little light wind there is definitely blowing out to sea, coming, but it is very, very light. It's not going to cause too much of an issue.
Indeed, we've just got highs of 6 kilometres an hour today. At the moment, 18 degrees, the current temperature, which is feels a bit chilly, a couple of metres into the air as we sit perched on top of our storage container. But very pleased to be here in Portimão once again after a little while. And then Georgina puts a lovely lead pass and then receives one up line. Good poaching off in the deep space to prevent real penetration into the pitch. Oh, a lovely cheeky behind the back throw from Kochenova. Oh, but it's a loose swing across. Ermentrout has a good go at trying to redeem it, but cannot, and it just gets thrown away once again.
Apologetic signal from Arcangeli, but the number of passes that Valkyria are having to make, up until now, every single pass has looked rock solid. That was the first loose one, and Tequila Boom Boom really needed to capitalise on it to get that break back. They have still got the full length of the pitch to go, and this short line for the Stockholm side might be starting to pay. They're certainly having to do the work against this zone.
Well, Ermentral originally from Berlin, getting that one underway after having been asked a lot of to redeem that very low swing pass. But this is really great containment from the defense of Rimini. Shoot down the far side to Larsen. Kochenova pops back with Badagina. Larsen with nobody anywhere near her with the poach off from Lafiata. This is much nicer flow. Oh, and in the end, they get away again. Kate Badagina picking up another to her tally. That's 3 of Valkyria's 7 goals. And they take half in style with another break.
It was really interesting there to see Tequila Boom Boom working that zone, and almost the moment the disc got to halfway, they collapsed into a one-on-one and just gave Valkyria the run of the play. They've got the athletes to beat every single one of the players out there, particularly as that zone had been working so hard, and it was almost like a green light to go and score the goal, which they did with ease. 4-point margin in this first half, and Tequila Boom Boom not able to contain the Stockholm side. But the Stockholm side are looking like they've worked hard this tournament. There's only 9 of them. They're not running very freely, but they don't need to against the zone. They can use their throws really nicely, and then when they did, needed a couple of quick passes, Badagina has been devastating deep. One pass and it's done.
Well, you say not running freely. Kate Badagina just seems to be all over the end zone, and not just not hotly contested. We've seen some throws from Tequila Boom Boom to players that are fairly well marked out, but she just seems to be at least a solid meter, if not 2, further in front in the deep space than the person tasked with marking her. So half for Valkyria. They now extend that lead to 3 breaks, but Tequila Boom Boom coming out on offense. Angeli moving it across for the first pass to Grossi. A little one straight in the face, but well kept on. Lafiata now thinks about it. Sideline calling to say no around, but Arcangeli, just about off the back of the intended receiver. That was a lot to ask of Ascari. She has been having a fantastic tournament, tipped by her coaches as the most improved over the course of this championship, really playing out of her skin, but it's going to have to take something inhuman from Alex Benedict to run that one down. We know Benedict is capable of making huge plays, but perhaps decides, you know what, now's not quite the time. We've got a 3-point cushion.
The battle I'm enjoying watching downfield is Lafiata. And we think that is Karina Barry.
Well, there's 2 62s.
Just to keep us on our toes, Hannah.
As you do. We just need the 2 Kochenova sisters to stand next to each other. But this is nice flow. There's a poach in the centre, and it's going to be taken away. The pressure from Benedict sneaking in with that necky. She's fallen down to give us a good look at her little smile. Always happy with a defensive effort. But the poach off in the centre field, not connected with. And a bit of switching to try and find somebody who can keep up with Kate Badagina. Trying to pin her in the underspace and see if she can be slightly less devastating in that position. A pick call upfield. It's going to bring that one back. An immediate action replay of that low backhand. Oh, and Benedict puts an absolute beaut of a biscuit A layout in the end zone and another goal for Valkyria. They break straight away out of half.
That is devastating. The disc was asking a lot of the receiver. Got everything it needed. And a break out of half. They had a break in half to come into half as well. And Valkyria just waltzing away with it at the moment. Tequila Boom Boom yet to find an answer for the fast play and the athleticism of this team from Stockholm.
Well, we knew against Yaka they'd seen so many times the French players, especially on tape. We are a big fan of broadcasting their games. It's always a pleasure. And we know many of our patrons are too, big fans of Yaka. If you'd like to help support Ultimate, keep it free to view live and on demand. Please do consider sponsoring our efforts. We can do more the more you give us. We're certainly not going to be, using it for anything cushy, but a timeout being called as the wolf cry of Valkyria.
All the animals are coming out here. Is that an eel?
No, I think some snaky action, maybe, like a python or something.
Which one's the snake?
Ooh, good question. Well, we're going to take some time to consider that question, and we're going to have some breaks as the athletes out on the pitch do too. We'll be back after these.
We are Hive Ultimate, a group of players and coaches from all over the world working together to progress the next generation of Ultimate strategy. We've helped top teams win world championships and new teams introduce the sport in a fun and inclusive way. Search for Hive Ultimate on YouTube to learn more about our cutting-edge strategies and to see analysis of world-class teams. To find out what Hive can do for your team, head over to our Patreon page where you can gain access to our exclusive drills and session plans and to join our worldwide community of coaches. Get ahead of the curve with Hive Ultimate.
Right now, he's going to have to bid. Oh, just a football!
Huge layout block. Unbelievable stuff on the front corner of the end zone.
Maybe just that boost of energy they needed.
Second half in the women's bronze medal match here at the European Beach Ultimate Club Championships 2022, and Valkyria are on fire, but Lafayette takes a beautiful one. Can this be better weighted into the end zone? Oh, just the little hop for the goal. Marilina Bisceglia does much better that time. Well, I say it does much better. It's the discs that have been coming unstuck for Tequila Boom Boom, and that one is perfectly weighted from the paws of Lafayette. Karina Barry there. Little shot of the Minnesota pickup.
Yeah, Lafayette is quite the player. She's got the height, she's got the speed, and the throws have been, that was a sublime put. She takes the time, but the float on that disc, it's not easy with the wind out here, and sand is a sort of surface where it's very difficult to make up the ground. If the disc is off track, you've got to throw right where your receiver's going, and Lafayette is really managing to do that well. Valkyria trailing on that occasion, but the Tequila Boom Boom are channeling all those deep shots through her, trying to get her into a position where she's got a 30-yard pass to go, and she's just keeps slotting them in.
So the ball landing far out of bounds. Nadia Milnikova is going to signal that and bring it into play. And the tape out here on these pitches does actually have the word brick, indicating where the brick mark should be in terms of distance from the end zone. We've seen some slightly wonky ones in terms of not being quite centre of the field, because there's now, of course, no X's being marked on sand pitches, even though it would be very fun to see if you could get some buried treasure. But in fact, Tequila Boom Boom was saying one of their favourite moments of the tournament so far was when Soul Bang, during the warm-up, when their players caught their foot and they all had a team treasure hunt trying to figure out what it was. The excitement for a piece of wood and the excitement for that disc going out of bounds, way too far for any kind of play, but the foul is going to be called by Benedict, which is unsurprising because that one definitely went nowhere near where she intended it to. Trying to hit Kochenova. And the Nice loud call from Benedict. Contested foul. A powerful arm and a powerful voice.
That's the conversation down on the field, is whether the defender from Tequila Boom Boom was moving. She claims she wasn't.
Well, it's contested to begin with.
They're going to have the conversation. The disc was clearly drifting away.
And with a calibre of thrower like Benedict, you would expect that to be a more close kind of edge, but okay, so accepted foul now after the discussion with Lagala. Wearing a very fetching little cute dinosaur cap. So we get another look at that. Kochenova coming under instead. Mentral around. Good popping around, Milikova now. Valkyria not looking at all like they've got a short roster. All moving across the sand beautifully. It's a low one and cannot be kept in.
Yeah, the connection at the end, they were running so fluidly there at such pace, but that final connection wasn't there. But the first connection for Tequila Boom Boom's gone wayward.
Yeah, not what they wanted whatsoever. Milikova now with a short distance to the end zone, and Kochenova with the layout lefty grab reels that in, and that's another point for Valkyria, and another, oh no, just to hold that time, sorry.
They were made to work for it, but Kochenova is providing the highlights over on that far side. Another opportunity to see her lay out, one-handed grab. The team throwing her open. We see that the misconnection at one side, but second time of asking after that Tequila Boom Boom throwaway.
Yeah, it was a lot to ask of Marianne de Haas before, trying to get her to lay out clap catch, but Kochenova, picture perfect in that front corner. And has a little break afterwards, doesn't get up immediately. Well deserved.
I think that's what's giving me the impression that they're tired, is when they do get a chance to kind of pause, they're all looking tired, but the moment the disc is in action, they're cutting the power and the determination to get free, even with the 9 players on the roster. So yeah, every single point somebody's having to repeat and stay on the field. They can't rotate a full line even.
Oh, but I tell you what, Kate Badiyangina is just effort and energy across this entire field. A nice pop from Benedict. Barry to Kochenova. Fakes the dish. There is a poach off in the deep space of the end zone, but it's going to be an easy one. A creative throw to find Kate Badajina.
Yeah, Tequila Boom Boom being a little bit casual with their marking in the end zone there. 2 players kind of poaching into spaces rather than being honest. And when you've got the throws, you can expose that. That's exactly what they did. But great defensive early on in the point as well. But Agina showing how devastating she can be with that run-through block.
And to match the wolf cries, they could get a little bit of double happiness. Decorative hand ears, as I love to call them. The little 2 hands up, almost wolf-like. But Kate Badajina really creating fantastic opportunities for Valkyria, who now sit 6 points the better of their opponents. 10-4 the score. And Tequila Boom Boom really are just imploding again. We saw this in their semi-final. They just couldn't quite hang tough with Casayetes after having done so well in the pool stages. That pool of 3 that went to the 3-way tie. Arcangeli finds Angeli. Oh, and that is a lovely shot. There's huge pressure on it, but just that little bit of extra acceleration at the end from Lagala makes it secure, and that is a good hold for the Rimini side.
Well, you've got to give the entertainment factor to Tequila Boom Boom. That was a risky shot, but they backed the receiver, and Carmen Lagala sprinting into the end zone under a lot of pressure, but she never let up, and the disc found her. And Tequila Boom Boom seem to be a team that are playing through their systems, and while their systems are working, they're getting some love out of the disc. But if Valkyria managed to break down that initial play, then their organic stuff afterwards is just not quite clicking. And maybe that's a case of experience. You know, they've got youngsters on the team. We mentioned no, I've forgotten her name. Ascari. She's only 15 years old. There's under 17s on this side and under 20s from the World Championships as well. So it's a young team that are going to develop. But brilliant, spicy shot into the end zone there.
Well, there are plenty of experienced players as well, in terms of they might be young, but they've certainly represented Italy a number of times. But at the moment, it is Valkyria off to the races, spinning down the sand like they were born to be on it. And Larson collects the goal under hot pressure from her matchup. But the little celebrations from Valkyria, we love to see it. They were bested by E6 in the semi-final. They hung tough in the early stages, but then E6 pulled ahead and maintained the lead. They left a little too late with just the 9 of them. You're supposed to have a minimum requirement of 10 on your squad, but there was unfortunately a late stage dropout from Valkyria's roster due to COVID. So just the 9 of them. But they've been very clinical, and that's been such a defining factor of this game, is how quickly and how easily SUFC Valkyria have put it in on defense. I think there's only been 1 point where they had more than 1 turnover in terms of the D-line. Every other one has been a quick break where it's just been, yep, I'll have that and I'll go and put it in the end zone, please. So Arkalangi finds Lagala, who coaches the under-17 junior side in Rimini for the open division. Ascari, the 15-year-old. Still count rises, but finds La Fiata. Nice swing around. Arcangeli launches it immediately. Oh, and that just sneaks over the shoulder of Kochanova. And La Fiata kicks to the goal.
Well, I could correct myself on 1 point and reinforce myself on another. So their organic play there was brilliant. They worked really nicely as a team, but the entertainment factor was right up there. Dialing that disc around the head, it must have been inches from the ear. La Fiata found in space in the end zone, and she can see she starts that play with the flick to the centre of the field, and 1 pass later she's found in the end zone. Look at this disc. Oh! She put the arms up just a moment too late. If she'd had that arm up, it might have been a sort of an accidental block.
Or a flail-D, yeah, we've all seen those.
Brilliant.
Well, maybe that's a little bit of unfortunate things happening, because Valkyria, of course, with only 4 members on the sideline, probably more keen to take a break than anything else, unable to communicate with Kochanova to let her know. She could hear that disc, but she definitely couldn't see it. Milikova might have to take to Ermentrout. She does. Against this Tequila Boom Boom zone, which I like the look of. It is indeed clustering that space in front of the disc. Lagala marshalling downfield, keeping busy by Larson. Nice delicate catch behind from Benedict. She's going to try and throw Larson open, but that is miles too far.
Got a bit of end zone fever there. Saw an open end zone and a player in it, just hurled it out of the back. Interesting Tequila Boom Boom zone there, sagging off in the centre of the field and then tightening in at the wings. We'll see if they do that again on a future point. But it's a different look. They've tried one type of zone. That was definitely a different strategic look. But,
well, they do have 2 coaches that are wonderful people, if we can say so ourselves, trying to make those adjustments. But it has been a case this morning of, despite the attempts to change up the defense against Valkyria, those personal errors crept in once again for this young team from Rimini. But this is much nicer. Good options found. Borga, who had a scintillating quarter-final. players all over the field. Liadini. Borga stopped well by the little strike around. Oh, and that just pings off the fingertips, and actually a bit of Mac line giving Valkyria an enviably short field. Benedict immediately turns, burns and scores.
Classic play in the end zone. The two players from Valkyria just running down there much quicker than the Tequila Boom Boom opponents, who are always trailing. But then when you get to that end zone line, you've got to pick up and score, and that's exactly what they did. Benedict pivoting on a sixpence and making herself available. And really smart, but Benedict's defense there was really good. She wasn't in close where the handler could throw around her. She's taken those 2 or 3 steps back, and it just makes the whole field narrows up. It's almost like the opposite of a goalkeeper in football, kind of closing the angle. By just taking that step away, you take away that whole field and make it much more difficult to throw around. Benedict's doing that, taking away those break throws and forcing Tequila Boom Boom down that far sideline.
Well, excellent team defense from Valkyria. Some dynamic forcing and confusing that handler space too much for Tequila Boom Boom to contend with. But that's much better. Off to the end zone goes Lafiata. Displacement very good, but just a few inches away from the outstretched arms of Lafiata, and what long arms they are.
Yeah, Sofia Albani, only been playing 3 years. She was through that disc.
We have to give, homage to the fact that these are indeed really young athletes coming out of Rimini, and this is, probably the first club level games where they've been, reaching these lofty heights of bronze medal matches. Cannot wait to see how these athletes develop in the years to come.
Yeah, it is really exciting. Italian Ultimate has been exciting for a long time because of Bologna, but this is in Rimini now, also having young players coming through. Really good to see.
Well, and Tequila Boom Boom do occasionally feed the odd player into the Cusp Shout team. Saw a couple of those on grass, because obviously Boom Boom are more of a sand-based team.
Valkyria with game point here.
Oh, and that's going to be good for the goal, sailing over Lafiata and into the arms of Nastasia Kochenova.
Brilliant play, and a well-deserved bronze medal for Valkyria. They take the game, and they've taken it in style. They've outclassed their young Italian opponents, who've provided entertainment and a lot of spirit, but they couldn't live with the team from Stockholm. Only 9 players, but every one of them has contributed a lot to this game. And they've looked completely at home, taking the 3rd place here at the European Ultimate Beach Championships.
And De Hask to finish it all, collecting that final pass. And so SUFC Valkyria, my goodness, before time cap had even been applied, they beat this one out with over double scoreline, 13-6 over Tequila Boom Boom. So that's going to close us up for the bronze medal match. But keep your eyes peeled. Of course, in the open division, we don't even know who's going to be in the gold and who's going to be in the bronze positions. It is all yet to be decided. So the semi-final will be coming up for you very shortly. That's going to be Jet Set of Belgium versus Fendisk of Santander. Tom Stiles and Benji Rees will be on the call for that one. But we're going to wrap this one, give you a brief break to go grab yourself some refreshments. We've just been delivered some Passo de Nata and some espresso up here in Portugal. Stay tuned for more action for the European Ultimate Beach Club Championships 2022. We'll be back on the other side.
The ultimate things in life are free, and we're keeping it that way. Subscribe to keep up with the latest games, tournaments, and community content. Share it with your team and friends, and drop a like to help spread Ultimate to more people. Spread the word, spread the love. ULTI.TV.
We believe mixed is the best for the sport, for the world. That's why we're making a global showcase, starting in Europe, made in Amsterdam. ULTI League. ULTILeague.net.
ULTI.TV, EBUCC lyrical.
Merci beaucoup.
ULTI.TV.